All right, folks, what are we watching to trade on Wednesday, April 16th? Let's start with the SPY. Actually, I don't know how to call it. This is a narrow range day. If you look back, it's kind of an average day, right? But compared to the latest chaos, it was a quiet inside day. All right, so let me throw this up here real quick. If you're new in the chat, a lot of new faces, pause the video and read that. It's a good description of what we're about. And I also like to highlight a couple of the good calls from the day. So let me do OST. Sahil gave this through 2, and I'll show you exactly where if you weren't in chat. Broke 2, let's see, right there, came back, and he called it back through 2 right here, and it went all the way to 419. The risk was like 26 cents a share. Great call by Sahil. Had an offering in after hours and sold off, but that was a huge run, more than a double. And then in after hours, for those that hung out, a few people were looking at SBEV because it had a nice, pretty strong close. Let's go to 5 minutes. I'll show you the extended hours. Okay, so this is the high of the day, right near the end of the day at 290. So now let me zoom in. Look what it's doing now. Let me zoom in. So then after hours, the high was 282, came back down and started to curl up. I typed in chat that I liked it over 282, knowing that 290 would be a high of daybreak and shorts could get squeezed, right? So right there is the 282 entry, and you see what it did, right? It actually went to 417 at this point, but that was a really nice entry. I scalped some through 3, and I sold the rest. I sold half through 3 and the other half right about there. And like I said, in my defense, I could have let this ride longer if I could have put a hard stop, but I have to watch this video for the next day, right? So I don't want to sit there and manage a trade, and you can't do stops in after hours. So otherwise, I would have had kind of a trailing stop, and I'd be doing really well. But anyway, it was still a nice after hours trade. And I'm going to probably start hanging out and doing more after hours stuff for those that want to hang out with me, because there are generally some really good trades, especially, this is a good example. A crazy strong stock. Let's go back to the intraday again real quick. Sideways all day and then breaks at the end. So what do you have? You have shorts piling in, and then at the end of the day they get nervous, and then in after hours there's much less liquidity and they can't halt it, right? And that's generally what you can get. So those are the ones to watch in after hours. That's why we were watching it in after hours. And again, a lot of times you get that halt rule out of your way, you can get some really nice trades. So let me go into what we're watching, what I'll be watching tomorrow. This is not a great chart setup, but the rare earths have been really strong. And this one actually held up better than most. So USAR goes on watch. TMC is another one. You had the big gap up, and then it closed about where it closed yesterday. But again, that space is still in play. I think NB is also in that space. I want to watch that one too. Bull is Webull. It's only been trading for 3 days, but today you had a quiet inside day. Crazy trader. It's kind of like what I've been looking for in NMAX. What I'd like to see is a day-long quiet range and an afternoon breakout. That's when you get those squeezes. So BULL goes on watch, but only with a proper setup. OST, even after that offering, I'm going to go ahead and keep it on watch. You never know, right? DWTX closed at 416, well off of its highs, but as I'm talking to you, it's trading at 470. So if that might be gapping in the morning, could make that one a pretty interesting one to watch tomorrow as well. I already talked about SBEV. We definitely want to watch that one tomorrow. KSCP, nice little mini breakout there, and a strong close. That one's interesting to watch tomorrow for a follow-through day. MP is another one of those, and that's an ugly daily candle today, but it's in that rare earth space, which had good news yesterday, right? So it could snap back. If you look at a couple of these other gaps up and sell off, right? Like this day, look what it did the next day. Nice big rip. Same thing. Big nasty candle, had a nice bounce. So even though it's weird looking, I think it's worth having on watch. CRWV. This is a little random because it's a recent IPO, but it's had a couple kind of nasty days. And I think any kind of tech rally, this could get a nice play. So I'm going to treat it like a bounce play. And then lastly, AREB, which I don't know, had a really nice run back here. Now it's kind of going chopping sideways. But when you go to 15-minute candles, and let me get after hours off of there, it clears it up a little bit. You can see that five days ago, it topped out early in the day. The very next day, put in its high early. The very next day rallied, but still put in its high early. And the next day, same thing, and same thing today. It got a narrow range today, all things considered. What I'd like to see, it's my favorite setup for bounce plays, is sideways action like this tomorrow, and then an afternoon break of its early high. I put this on watch this afternoon. When I saw it curling up, I said if it breaks the high of day, I'm getting long, but it didn't. But it's still a good candidate because of the recent rips for that setup, and that's what I'll be looking for. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the chat and pre-market. We'll add some gappers to this watch. Let's have a good night.